miss it. Hey, Socrates, let's look, brother. Yeah, I would. JKS, I think, is worth watching, and then morning, and definitely you want to. I think SEDG is also probably worth watching. So these are good. These are good stocks. All right, Kelly, you got Jaina, Roku. These are all good. Hey, good morning. So let's just take a look real quick at what's happened with the general market. Make sure we haven't had any news come out in the last few minutes. We're really tapping right at that 190 spot, which has been like monster resistance the last few times. This is the way the market goes. Like every time you think it's looking great, it's been coming back down. We really need a break and hold over that 190 to kind of keep this thing going. If we just kind of nuzzle around under there, it's really tough. Remember that gap up days in general are like super tricky to trade anyways. Morning, Radian. How you doing? They're super tricky to trade anyways because of the range that's going to get sucked up. But there's more than enough kind of earnings plays today to kind of keep us going. So let's take a look at the focus list. Like just re-game plan here. So AMBA it's about a 1 year breakout here on the weekly. So I think this is like probably going to be top of the list for us. Just to effect, this is like a kind of a 3x breakout here. And you're still pretty much hanging around pre-market high, so I do like that one. Alta's number 2. Big breakdown under the 200 SMA. And on the weekly, you got a breakdown under the 200 SMA, which is important. So you got like multiple time frames that are breaking down. This one's going to have good range. I know a lot of times people don't like trade $200 stocks, but you know, if this thing can shred $10, $15, $20 like in a hot ripper, then you know who cares about the price itself, right? Yext number 3, you got yourself a flat bottom breakdown here. Actually, if you can hold under this kind of 1725 spot, this one's got earnings out today too. If it can build a pattern under that 725, I think that this one's going to have a pretty good chance. It does good enough liquidity. I haven't really heard about this stock in like 5-6 years, but it looks like it's back in play. And then I think ALXN is this one is after right. It's side by side with Alta. So I would go in and go Alta number 1 for me. Then ALXN to the short side. And I always put the ones on the short side first because I just trade them better on the shorts than I do the longs. You know, when you're thinking about trading and you're kind of like making up your list, always think about like what setups do you trade better than others, right? So like in general, like I tend to trade, gap down shorts better than gap up shorts. So I got AMBA. Like this is actually probably the best chart of the group and probably the best mover. But I tend to trade the shorts better than the longs. So just something to kind of keep mind of. There are some hot movers in the market, though. FSLY had a big crack yesterday, 35 to 28. Man, we waited like 5 days for this thing to crack, right? And then everybody left, and it cracked at the end of the day. This was sick. I blame Vikram for this one, though. You know, he'd been watching this thing for like 3 days. He goes to the mattress store. Next thing you know, it dies. This was actually really clean. So when you have a stock like that, it's the second day is probably not going to just tank, but if it gets like kind of jammed up into, you know, the top of the gap was at 31. You know, if you start to get, you know, you have some like resistance spots over here. If this thing starts to push, hey YouTube, what's up? If this thing starts to push 30, 31. You know, I think we can definitely watch this thing for a re-roll because it's going to have, you know, it's going to have the range that you need. So let's add that one to the list. And then, man, there was a lot of good second day. I think there's going to be a lot of good second day plays. You know, this Ollie had some really great range yesterday. You know, we took this thing short for a hot sec. It had some good range, and then it ended up squeezing. And boom, like it ended up fizzling back. I'd keep this on watch for a day 2. if it can break under yesterday's lows, I think this one's going to have a. This one should give us a shot to get going. What do you think? Yeah. Dun 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 dun. Mac, I know you and Justice got BYND on your list. BYND, now that it's like kind of getting over this 50 SMA, which is like 168, I think this one, it's got like more room to run. If it can hold over the 50 SMA, then that kind of negates this head and shoulders pattern. It negates the head and shoulders pattern. So, definitely, I definitely keep that on the list. Like, it's been a turd, but it's been rebounding. Damn, Vic, you caught it. Good job. So I would definitely, as long as this thing holds over the 50, you're good. If it doesn't, then just leave it alone. Like, if you're trying to buy this one and it's under the resistance on the daily spot, it's going to be like, it's going to end up chopping, especially with this being Friday, and you're stuck in between two moving averages. That's like the penis in between us, right? Like, you're sitting in the middle of the back seat of your buddy's car. It's an uncomfortable ride, right? Windows, okay. Shotgun is the best. But you don't want to be penis in between us. So let this thing bust right over this bad boy, and you'll be good to go on this thing. Otherwise, leave it alone, and we'll get cruising. Now let's talk about some of these other second day plays here. So ESTC had had a sick move yesterday from 80. It went from the 80s to 93. Kind of like how Keys went the other day. You guys remember Keys a couple days ago? These software stocks, when they have their earnings, they really bust loose. So I would actually keep this on list for a second day. It did fade off some of the gains here, but once it kind of remounts back over this VWAP and starts to build, I think you'll have a little bit more action on this bad boy. Then JNUG was nasty on Friday, or not yet, yesterday. I mean, this is just bear flags, into resistance. But we're right at a sweet spot now. Like, we've pulled back from 90 to kind of this 87 mark. Watch this thing. If it starts to build its way back up, you start to see, JNUG is not a good candidate for ORBs, but if you start to see this thing hold and build over that VWAP, then this one will have a chance to actually bounce today. You're on two levels of support here, and in the end, you're still trending. It just happens to be like it pops up hard and then dips. It pops up hard and dips. That's the nature of a trend. If it can hold at these MAs and start to build, then it'll go. But don't be afraid. Like, JNUG is one of those things, like, you can play them both ways. If it starts to build under yesterday's lows, you can just flip it, and you've got room down to 76. So this is one of those things, like, you kind of trade this like a market index, like futures trading almost, right? Where you can be trading NASDAQ futures, and, you're long one sect and you're short, and at least that's, when you're trading futures, you can get all sorts of up and down all around. And, JNUG is very similar. When the range sets and the trend sets, then it's just for the day. Then it's just about hitting it on the trend. And, I mean, it's rare to get, a full trend day, but, you got most of it for the morning. So that's actually pretty cool on this bad boy. What you think? Yeah. All right. Cool. Alright. That's all junk. Yeah, let's check a look. So, a lot of you guys got Roku still on your list. Roku is good because it's not really extended. It's just trending. So there's a difference between extended and trending. Okay, when you're just kind of real low key trending, what happens is, like, dips get bought essentially, and like, so anytime you get big dips on the stock, it'll just start to ramp. One thing to look with Roku is, like, if you get like those kind of $3, $4, $5 pullbacks at any time intraday, they tend to be gifts. Like, it ends up just ramping back. You can even see yesterday, like, it popped up, it pulled back to CMAs, and then you just got like a nice spike. You can't overstay your welcome in this, because obviously it's like it's ran for like 10 days in a row, but it ends up just being a good daily trader. And then, at some point on this, you'll get kind of one of those like kind of $10 flushes on this one. This shop is also like another one that's like, it just ends up being a daily trader because it's just so powerful. They don't end up dying the way that you want. Damn, Big Lots is creeping, huh? Anybody like the lots? Man, Indian people love Big Lots. This is like our staple. Yeah, you can see you had a bear flag up here. Now it's kind of getting into this kind of weird range. But this one actually, it might be worth a watch. It's not the easiest trade due to the fact it's already faded back $2 pre-market. Anytime you get a stock and it's like faded back like $2 pre-market, what ends up happening on it is like you end up like it pops up a little bit and then you ORB and then it doesn't and it just ends up being weird. That's kind of what happened with us in Box yesterday. If anybody, we shorted Box at the open and then it was like a muddled pre-market picture on it and ended up kind of squeezing. I got stuffed out of it. Good. Johnny, how you doing, brother? Vic, where did you end up shorting it? Yes, I'll probably leave that one alone. All right, guys, it's Friday. You know what we got to do. It's showtime. It's go time. Guys, I appreciate everybody showing up as always. I'll be back on Monday, and I'll be in the Bulls on Wall Street chat room the rest of the day, shredding, doing what I do. You guys are always more than welcome to come into our Discord room. It's actually pretty fun, and we're trading live in there all day. Adios, muchachos. Woo, yeah, let's do this.